AITA for wanting a divorce after my wife's affair and my daughter's revelation? I am Ethan. I am 38 years old. I am a project manager at a construction firm. I live with my wife, Jessica, and our two children, Chloe, who is 14, and Liam, who is 10. We had been married for 16 years, living what appeared to be a normal life. A stable job, our own house in the suburbs, family weekends, a vacation once a year. It was nothing extraordinary, but it was comfortable, or so I had thought. It all started one Friday night a few months ago. The kids were already asleep, and I was on the sofa watching a movie with a beer. Jessica had told me she was going out for dinner with some friends from work, something she did from time to time. I didn't worry. I trusted her. Around 11 p.m., the phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered, and a serious voice on the other end said, "Mr. Davis, this is Dr. Evans from General Hospital. Your wife, Jessica, is here. She's been involved in a serious incident. Please come as quickly as possible." My heart skipped a beat. What happened? Is she okay? I asked, my voice trembling. But the doctor said it would be better to explain everything in person. I quickly woke the kids. I told them their mom had been in an accident and we needed to go to the hospital. Chloe got very scared. Liam just rubbed his eyes, confused. I drove fast, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. At the hospital, a nurse led me straight to the emergency room. Jessica was in a bed, almost unrecognizable. Her face was swollen and covered in bloody bandages, with bruises everywhere. There were tubes connected to her. It looked like she had been struck with something heavy. The doctor explained what had happened. She had been attacked at a nearby motel. A man had hit her in the face with a glass bottle during an argument. She had a fractured jaw, deep cuts that would require plastic surgery, and damage to one of her eyes. She would survive, but there would be permanent scars. A motel. Attacked by a man. My mind couldn't process it. Who was this man? Why was she at a motel? The doctor said the police were investigating and that Jessica couldn't speak, yet due to the swelling. I sat next to her, holding her cold hand. She opened her eyes slightly and murmured something that sounded like, "I'm sorry," but I couldn't understand it clearly. I called my mother-in-law to come and watch the kids in the waiting room. Chloe didn't want to leave my side, constantly asking what had happened. Liam was crying. I spent the entire night there, wide awake, just looking at Jessica, who was heavily sedated. The police arrived at dawn. An officer explained the situation. Witnesses at the motel saw Jessica enter a room with a man. They heard a loud argument, and then he struck her with a bottle and fled the scene. The man was Mark, her boss at the company where Jessica worked as an executive assistant. Mark. The name sounded familiar because Jessica mentioned him occasionally. My boss is so demanding. Mark gave me a bonus. But at a motel? The pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. Over the last 8 months, Jessica had been acting strangely. She was coming home late from work more often. She was going out with friends more frequently. She had become distant with me, always glued to her phone. I had brushed it off as work stress or a midlife phase. I never imagined it was a betrayal. It felt like I had been punched in the stomach. A complete and total betrayal. But I had to maintain my composure for the children. I told them their mom had been in an accident involving an unstable person, without going into detail. Chloe looked at me with a strange expression, as if she knew more than she was letting on, but she said nothing. Liam just wanted to hug his mom when she woke up. Jessica spent a week in the hospital and underwent 2 surgeries to reconstruct her face. I visited her every day after work. I brought her soup, flowers, and helped in any way I could. On the outside, I played the part of the worried, perfect husband. The doctors said she would recover physically, but her face would be marked forever. There would be scars, a drooping eye, and a misaligned jaw. Inside, I was boiling with rage. I started gathering evidence in secret. The police had given me Jessica's phone for family contact purposes. That night, at home, I decided to check it. The password was easy, our anniversary date. I found the messages with Mark. There were hundreds of them, going back 8 months. "I miss you, love. See you tomorrow at our usual spot. Your husband doesn't deserve someone like you." There were intimate photos and plans to meet at hotels. They had even talked about her leaving me. I used an app one downloaded to recover deleted messages. Everything was there. The next day, I called my lawyer friend, David. "I need to prepare for a divorce, but I need to do it discreetly. I want full custody of the kids and the house." David was direct. Gather everything, he told me. Messages, witnesses, the hospital report. With clear evidence of infidelity, you'll have the upper hand. Jessica's family arrived at the hospital on the second day. My in-laws and sisters-in-law cried when they saw her damaged face. My poor daughter, my mother-in-law wept. They hugged me tightly, telling me I was a saint for being by her side. But when I let it slip that I was considering a divorce because of the infidelity, their attitude completely changed. You can't abandon her now, my father-in-law said sternly. She's suffering. She needs your support. My mother-in-law added, we all make mistakes, Ethan. Forgive her for the sake of the children. I explained that this was a months-long affair, not a one-night mistake. They ignored me. She is a victim of that violent man, they insisted. From her hospital bed, Jessica looked at me pleadingly with her one good eye. Fine, I'll think about it, I said, pretending to concede. Jessica returned home after the second surgery. She was on crutches, could only consume liquids, and her face was still horribly swollen. I helped her with everything. I made her soups, cleaned the house, and took the kids to school. Chloe was distant with her mother, almost avoiding her entirely. Liam was affectionate, always asking if she was in pain. The pressure from my in-laws was constant. They would come over with food, but always with the same underlying message. Don't leave her alone, Ethan. It would be cruel. They completely ignored the betrayal, focusing only on the fact that Jessica had already suffered enough. I kept up the pretense. Meanwhile, the divorce process was moving forward in secret, but something about Chloe worried me. She seemed to be carrying a heavy weight on her shoulders. One night, after I had put Liam to bed, she came into my room with red, swollen eyes. Dad, I need to talk to you about something important. It's about Mom and Mark. I closed the door carefully so Jessica, who was watching TV in the living room with the volume low because of her jaw pain, couldn't hear. Chloe sat on the edge of my bed, trembling. I put a blanket over her shoulders and sat next to her. Take your time, sweetie. Tell me when you're ready. You know you're always safe here, right? Always, she whispered. She took several deep breaths, as if the words were physically painful to say. She stared at the floor, wringing her hands. Dad, a few months ago, when you were away on that big construction project up north, Mom invited Mark over to the house. She said it was to review some important work documents that couldn't wait. I was in my room doing homework. I came downstairs to get a glass of water, and I saw them in the living room. They were standing very close, and they were kissing. My blood ran cold, but I kept my composure so I wouldn't scare her further. Go on, sweetheart. I'm listening. Chloe swallowed hard. Mom got a call from work, or at least that's what she said, and she went upstairs to take it. Mark saw me in the kitchen and waved me over. Come on, Chloe. Sit with me for a bit while we wait for your mom. I sat on the sofa, far away from him. But he moved right next to me. He started saying weird things, like I was very mature for my age, that I looked like Mom when she was young, that I had pretty eyes. He put his hand on my leg, above my knee. I tried to get up, but he grabbed my arm really tight and pulled me close. He kissed me forcefully, Dad. He smelled like alcohol. I felt so disgusted and scared. I tried to push him away, but he was too strong. Tears were streaming down her face now. I pulled her into a tight hug, trying to contain the inferno of rage burning inside me. Chloe, you are the bravest person I know for telling me this. Continue when you can. Mom came down the stairs right at that moment and saw everything. She screamed at him and pushed him away, telling him to get out of the house right now. Mark just laughed, like it was all a joke. He said it was just a little game and that nothing happened. Then he left. Just like that. I was on the sofa, crying and shaking. I thought Mom would comfort me, that she'd call the police or call you. But after Mark left, Mom took me to my room and told me not to say a word to anyone. She said Mark had too much to drink, that it was a mistake, and that if I told you, you would get very angry with her and our family would be destroyed. She made me promise over and over again to keep it a secret. She said if I told anyone, they would blame me for ruining their marriage, that it would be my fault if you two separated. The air left my lungs. My 14-year-old daughter had been subjected to an inappropriate advance in her own home by her mother's lover, and Jessica had forced her into silence to protect her secret affair. The rage I felt over the infidelity was nothing compared to this. This was a pure, profound hatred that made my entire body shake, but I couldn't lose control in front of Chloe. She needed me to be strong. Chloe, look me in the eyes, I said, my voice as calm as I could make it. None of this is your fault. Not one single bit. You did nothing wrong. Mark is a criminal. And your mother did something unforgivable by not protecting you and by forcing you into silence. You are incredibly brave for telling me this now. We are going to make sure Mark pays for what he did. And your mom will have to face the consequences for covering it up. But you are always safe with me. No one is ever going to hurt you again. Chloe cried even more, but this time, it was a cry of relief. She hugged me as tight as she did when she was a little girl. I let her cry until she calmed down. I got her a glass of water. I promised her that the next day, we would talk to specialists and the police. You are not alone in this, sweetie. Dad believes you 100%, and I am going to protect you. That night, I didn't sleep at all. My mind was racing with images of Mark touching my daughter, of Jessica protecting him. I called David, my lawyer, even though it was late. I explained everything in a low voice from the garage. This is child endangerment and covering up a serious offense, David. I want Mark in jail, and I want Jessica to lose everything in this divorce. David was straightforward. File a police report first thing in the morning. Take Chloe to a child advocacy center. With her testimony and a medical evaluation, you'll get full custody and there will be strong criminal charges. At dawn, I took Chloe to a center that specializes in helping young victims. A psychologist interviewed her alone first, and then with me in the room. Chloe recounted everything with details that were painful for me to hear. They conducted a physical exam, and even though months had passed, they found evidence consistent with her account. The psychologist confirmed she was suffering from severe emotional trauma, anxiety, nightmares, and internalized guilt. She recommended immediate therapy and a strong support system. We filed a report that same afternoon at a police station with a special victims unit. A female detective took Chloe's statement in a comfortable, private room while it was recorded. I paced back and forth in the hallway, my nerves shot. The police acted quickly. They raided Mark's house that night and arrested him. They found messages on an old phone where he had bragged to a friend about an inappropriate interaction with his girlfriend's daughter. It was another piece of evidence. Jessica found out when the police came to our house to question her as a witness and a potential accessory. She started screaming that Chloe was lying, that she was just a dramatic teenager looking for attention. She tried to hug Chloe, but my daughter recoiled in fear. You knew, and you made me shut up, Chloe screamed, raising her voice for the first time. Jessica collapsed on the floor, but I didn't feel an ounce of pity. Her family exploded the next day. My mother-in-law called me hysterical. You are destroying your wife over a lie from a spoiled girl. This is pure cruelty. They completely dismissed the medical and psychological reports. My father-in-law threatened to sue me for defamation. My sisters-in-law sent me text messages. Jessica has already suffered so much with her face. Don't destroy her emotionally, too. David just laughed when I told him. Let them sue, he said. The evidence is going to bury them. The divorce proceeded at lightning speed. David presented everything. The evidence of the prolonged affair, the police report from the motel incident, Chloe's medical reports, the psychologist's testimony, and even statements from some of Jessica's former colleagues who confirmed that Mark had a history of harassing female employees. The judge didn't hesitate. I was granted immediate and exclusive temporary custody. The house was to remain with me, and the judge also issued a temporary restraining order, requiring Jessica to stay away from the property unless for scheduled, supervised visits. Jessica was ordered to move out and could only take her personal belongings. I retained control of our main bank accounts and the family car. She was ordered to pay child support and cover the costs of Chloe's therapy. Jessica ended up with the bare minimum: her clothes, some furniture, and a small portion of our savings. She moved into a small, rented apartment and found a part-time job, as her facial scars made it difficult to find full-time employment. Her family continued to attack me on social media and through text messages. You are an inhumane monster. You left Jessica with nothing. I ignored it all and blocked their numbers. But the final straw came a month later, when Jessica attempted her last desperate move. It was a Saturday morning. I was making pancakes with the kids when the doorbell rang. I checked the security camera. It was Jessica, standing on the porch with heavy makeup trying to cover her scars. She was elegantly dressed and visibly pregnant, about 5 months along by my guess. My stomach turned. I opened the door just a crack, leaving the security chain on. "What do you want, Jessica?" She put on a pained, victimized expression, her hand resting on her belly. "Ethan, I need to talk to you. It's important. For the kids, and for this little one," she said, pointing to her stomach. "It's Mark's, but he wants nothing to do with it. I'm all alone, and I'm scared. I thought maybe we could try again, as a family. For the new baby, and for Chloe and Liam." I just stared at her, processing the audacity. Pregnant by the man who had harmed her daughter, and she wanted to come back as if nothing had happened. Chloe, who had heard her voice from the kitchen, appeared behind me, her face pale. "No, Dad, don't let her in." Liam just looked confused. "Jessica, do you honestly think that after everything that has happened, I would ever consider that?" I asked, my voice cold as ice. "You covered up what happened to your own daughter. You had an affair for months, and now you show up here with that monster's child asking to come back? There is no open door for you here. Sign the final divorce papers and get on with your life." She started to cry, a theatrical display of emotion. "I'm the mother of your children. This baby needs a father. Don't be so cruel," she screamed, loud enough for the neighbors to start looking out their windows. I pulled out my phone and started recording. "Leave now, or I'm calling the police for violating the restraining order." She finally left, sobbing, but that wasn't the end of it. That afternoon, my mother-in-law called. "Jessica tried to harm herself. It's your fault. She took a bottle of pills. She's in the hospital." My heart rate spiked again, but David had warned me to be prepared for this kind of manipulation. I went to the hospital, but with caution. Jessica was stable. She had taken a handful of pills, more for dramatic effect than a genuine attempt. The doctor confirmed she had her stomach pumped as a precaution, but she was in no real danger. There, in the hospital room, surrounded by her family, she tried one last time. "Ethan, please, I'm so sorry. We can raise the baby together," her mother pleaded. "Look at the suffering you're causing. Just forgive her." I felt nothing. "Jessica, your actions have consequences. You chose the affair, you chose to cover up what Mark did, and now this. There is no going back. You'll have to take care of your baby on your own, just like I'm taking care of my children." I walked out of that room and never looked back. The divorce was finalized a few weeks later. Jessica had the baby, a girl, on her own. I didn't ask for a paternity test. It wasn't my problem. Meanwhile, Mark was out on bail, wearing an electronic ankle monitor and under a court order to stay away from minors. Then, one night, I saw him at a bar near my office. He was with a group of friends, laughing as if he didn't have a care in the world. The accumulated rage finally exploded. I followed him out to the parking lot and confronted him. "You are a child abuser." I threw the first punch. He went down but got back up. We got into an ugly fight. I hit him in the face, in the ribs, wherever I could. He landed a few punches on me too, but I was blinded by fury. The bar's security guards did not intervene. I was arrested for assault. I received a light sentence, community service, 200 hours, and a fine. Jessica and her family screamed for justice for Mark, but the judge acknowledged the context. "I understand the provocation, sir, but you can't take the law into your own hands." I didn't regret it. Every hour of community service was worth it. Mark's trial took place months later. With the mountain of evidence, Chloe's brave testimony in court, the medical reports, the text messages, and his prior history, he was found guilty. He was sentenced to 22 years in prison for aggravated sexual assault, assault with a weapon, and other charges, with no possibility of parole. Jessica testified in his favor, claiming Chloe had exaggerated, but the jury didn't believe a word she said. She lost any shred of credibility she had left. A year later, life is different. Chloe, now 15, is a strong young woman. She gets good grades, has loyal friends, and her therapy has helped her heal. She's an incredible artist and even won a school art contest. Liam, now 11, plays soccer and gives me a tight hug every single night. The three of us travel together to the beach, the mountains, national parks. Our house is now filled with genuine laughter. Jessica sees the kids during supervised visits. Liam goes sometimes. Chloe never does. Jessica lives with her young daughter, working hard to make ends meet, her face a permanent reminder of her choices. Her family has completely cut off contact with me, blaming me for everything. I have found peace. I've started dating an incredible woman, Sarah, who loves my kids as if they were her own. Chloe adores her. Life isn't perfect, but now, it's authentic. Protecting my children was worth every single battle. Comment: this story carries a lot of weight, and I appreciate all of you for staying with it. It's a powerful reminder that setting firm boundaries isn't cruel. It's a profound act of self-respect. It's about protecting the people you love and the peace you deserve. Every choice we make ripples outward, shaping our lives and the lives of those around us. True healing often begins when we find the courage to face the truth, no matter how painful it is. Please be patient and kind to yourself as you move through your own healing journey. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let go of what was, so you can make space for what can be. Peace isn't always the easiest path, but it's a destination worth fighting for. May you always find the strength to choose your well-being and build a life rooted in authenticity. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.